Greetings, friends, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Life with Me, Myself, and IAM. Val's House International Ministries exists to creatively bring the gospel of hope to life through Bible studies, podcasts, conferences, and retreats, both live and virtual, designed to strengthen faith, bring hope and healing to others, and above all, to glorify God. For more information about Val's House Ministries, please check out the show notes. Life with Me, Myself, and IAM would like to thank the generous donors and partners of Val's House Ministries for your continued support. And now, on to our show.
Hello and welcome to Life with Me, Myself, and IAM. I'm Stephanie Fagans, and my host today with me is Kyler Templin.
Hello.
We're so glad you joined us today. Well, our guest today is incredible.
Yes,
we're going to have
she's
so
a
much
great,
fun
great
and get
girl.
so much great information.
Yes.
But our guest today is a coffee-obsessed, diaper cloth-loving, Jesus follower, working mother with a degree in eco-management. So,
Yes.
yeah, say that more than 3 times fast. Yeah, so it's going to be filled with a lot of tips and tries for us to do to help, take care of what God has commissioned us to do.
Yeah.
To do. And I can't wait to hear what she's got to say.
I'm excited.
All right,
I'm
now
ready.
on with the show.
Yes, absolutely.
Our guest today is Ashley Titus. She is a wife, mama of a 4-nager, PhD student, and the host of the Life on the Upcycle podcast. Her passion is to help busy women live more eco-conscious lifestyles, which is great. She loves to illuminate how the small things, healthy living, and affordable products can be eco-friendly. So we're going to check her brain and see what we can get out of it.
Yes.
And we so welcome you, Ashley. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for including me and thinking of me. I am so happy to be here. I've been excited about this all day.
Yay.
Awesome.
All right. So I guess we're going to start asking you some questions. Start toggling your brain. So what inspired you to start an environmental podcast?
Yeah. So I have a master's degree in environmental management.
Okay.
And we learned all of these amazing, big problems and concepts and huge solutions. And then when I left, I realized that most of us weren't really living any differently than when we started the program. And no judgment, but just the way that those programs typically work is it's very much like at a macro level and looking at all of the problems. So it kind of got me thinking about our individual footprint. And then when I became a mom, everything, your whole perspective, your whole paradigm on life completely changes. And so I started thinking about how I wanted to show up for my son and the example that I wanted to lead for him. And so, and really too, what I was feeling that God was leading us onto this journey of making our piece of the world a little bit better, what little bit that, we had control of, whether that, that's literally our garden, or just our yard. And then two, just the waste that we were contributing to. And I wanted his, carbon footprint. So that's whatever waste that he creates, I wanted that to be smaller than mine and for that just to be his norm. And so started off jumping into cloth diapers, and which was a much larger commitment than I realized. Yeah. Well, cloth diapers. Have you seen them recently, though?
Not
No.
recently. I'm back in the age when mine were growing up that you had to pin them.
Yes.
So
Okay.
I'm sure they're fancy now.
Yeah, they've completely changed. They look like normal diapers. They're super easy to put the baby into, the way they have all these different snaps and Velcros. And it's, and you can do it as a way to save money and, do the, kind of what you were talking about, the pinning, and do it kind of like the older school way, or you can, there's the Cadillac of diapers out there. It's insane. So that are made out of like cotton bamboo velour and like have like
nice.
yes, fancy prints on the back, where you can get like custom whatever you want. So like we had fun like Star Wars diapers and all sorts of fun stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So that's your why you wanted to do that, just a smaller footprint.
Absolutely. And what I found through it is when I started to make these changes, then people started asking why. They started to notice, the little differences of bringing our containers, switching our lunch containers to glass and reusable bags and all of those other things. People started to take notice. And so I found that non-intentionally, my husband and I were making an impact on the people who we were around, and they started asking questions themselves. And so that's why I ended up starting the podcast, because I figured, hey, if I have family and friends that are asking about these things, then maybe there's other people out there who would like to hear, our journey and things that we've gone through. And then too, just, it's interesting because I feel like a lot of times with environmental anything, it's unfortunately like been put into this box where you only look at it like at a small perspective, but it incorporates literally everything. So what I like to do on the podcast is I like to bring people who actually aren't from the environmental world onto the podcast. And then we talk from there about what their specialty is. And then I incorporate that into, hey, this is environmentally friendly because, so I've had guests who are, financial advisors, nutritionists, organizers, professional organizers. So people that you wouldn't normally think of to kind of show everyone that it really can apply to everyone, and you don't have to be this stereotypical hippie in order, to participate.
Yeah. Well, I know we do a little bit in our house, but how does work life balance with trying to lessen your footprint?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that has changed so much, like everything, right, in the last year. And are you asking in particular, like with
how
time,
do you balance
or
it? Yeah, how do you balance it?
Yeah, it's hard. So there's actually a term out there. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's called eco and anxiety.
Oh no!
Oh boy!
Yeah,
sounds fun.
Yeah, and it's a legit thing where that psychiatrists have identified, and it's because that it can get overwhelming. There's so many things. There's so many problems, especially when you start to hear about, the different impacts of climate change and our waste, and look at landfills and like all of that. I don't know if anybody else feels this. I know that they're, but it starts to really kind of build up in you, and you kind of get anxious about when you start kind of going down that road. I think, though, the best way to incorporate the work-life balance and the family life balance is you just do one thing at a time. It's like any habit. Yeah. You just focus on one thing, and then you just habit build from there. Mm-hmm. So for us, that started with cloth diapers and my son's stuff. So, the wipes, which now we use like reusable tissues and things like that. We do use normal toilet paper, but just, the reusable tissues, the paper towels, we could like slowly phase that out. But I would never suggest for anyone to do all of that in one night. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the other thing is too, is there's a misconception that living that lifestyle is expensive. Because you go on Instagram and everyone who is doing it, they're trying to sell something to you. Yep. And yes, exactly. And it's like, no, you don't have to do that. You don't have to buy specific paper towels. Yeah. No, like just take the towels that you have from your, kitchen routine. And if they get holes or stains on them, like fold them up, throw them under your sink, and just utilize those instead.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I came across a quote that you had said once from Anne Marie, the Zero Waste Chef. It says, we don't need a few people doing zero waste perfectly. We need 1 million people doing zero waste imperfectly. And that kind of goes with what you were saying. Yep. Don't get anxiety about it. Just do what little you can, and once you've accomplished that, tackle something else.
Right.
And then before you know it, you're doing a whole lot of different things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What is the... I listened to your podcast.
Oh, thank you. I'm so flattered.
Awesome. It was awesome. You're doing something called an Eco Mindset Challenge.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So it's just kind of spinning the way that we think about eco-friendly living, or, in asking people to really just kind of think those through. So exactly kind of what you talked about earlier. So defining that why, that's the first section of that, is getting down to what is it that, like, why are you doing this? What's important about it? Because if not, then it's so easy to let go of those things. And I don't know if I said this in that episode or if it was something that I ended up cutting out, but one of the things, one night I started to cut some fruit that was starting to go bad, and I was going to incorporate it into a recipe, because that's a great way to actually like save from tossing out fruits and vegetables, is you can, incorporate those into recipes. And so I started doing that. And then I noticed after I spent 30 minutes on that, at the very back of the fridge was like a cantaloupe or something that was on its way out.
Oh, no. It was time for that cantaloupe.
Yes. And it was at that point, like, I think Sunday night at 11 p.m., and I'm like,
no.
oh my gosh, I'm done. But it was kind of like digging back into that why of, okay, this is why I'm doing this. There's a bigger picture here. Yes, it's just one cantaloupe, but so chopped that up and froze it for, I think, smoothies or something like that.
Nice.
So, but just hanging on to that why, and for us to, in our house, it's that we feel that, God created the world for, not us just to live here and, but to take care of it, he spent so much time, creating every animal, every blade of grass. There we go. And so it's so important for us to do what we can in order to keep the world, I guess, to, what's the word that I'm thinking of? Just like a sign of respect that, for what he's created.
Take care of what he's given us.
Right.
And he did give us that charge too.
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. And it's so important. It's the very beginning, right? It's the Genesis.
Yeah.
Right.
And it goes on today.
Yes. That's awesome. So do you have like suggestions? I know you've already talked about on like how to start being eco-friendly and stuff, but do you have any more suggestions going forward with that on how to start?
I mean, it could be anything really. And I think, you just kind of figure out where it is that you want to start. But if you wanted to start with food, it looks like meal planning.
Which I'm terrible at.
Trying.
I'm so bad at it. Continue.
Okay. So if you're bad at meal planning, another thing that you can do is you can take a basket, and put it in a visible spot of your fridge, and, like once or twice a week, go through and evaluate what you have in your fridge. And if something is on its way out, put it in that basket. So that way it's like up front and it's something you can see. And then it's so easy. If you've got zucchini that's, not looking so hot, then you can just look at what other, if you've got ground turkey or something like that, like look up a recipe that
uses
zucchini
both
and ground
ingredients.
turkey.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I like your glass dishes suggestion. I really do. My husband takes his lunch to work. We reuse the plasticware that we get, but that might even be better.
Yeah.
So since we're moving on, we might get to actually do that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I know part of this is thinking about what you're doing and how you're doing it, and how your purchases are very important. And you said that you had different people on, instead of going to the computer, Instagram, and having people sell you things. You can do your own research and really pay attention to what you're getting. How do you... I know that's really, really important. And for me, it's extremely important because I love to buy local. I'm also an artist, so I'm part of the art world, as you know. And I'm wearing my Shop Local t-shirt today. But one thing that I have noticed at Cato Fashions, love their stuff.
Me too.
They have recycled denim jeans.
Really?
Yes.
I did not
A
know
group
that.
of their jeans is made from Reprieve recycled denim. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. And they're really comfy. So I'm like,
Win-win.
hey, there's my win-win. There's my thing. Also, I think we talked about this earlier before we started recording. My sister owns a company called the Steampunk Ballroom, where she recycles jewelry, antique watches, all the
So cool.
innards, different chains that she finds at garage sales or just wherever online. But she recycles them and makes them into something absolutely beautiful that can be worn again for many, many years. How do you go about doing that and really thinking about your purchases and where do you go to find some of that information?
Yeah, absolutely. So what you made a really great point about supporting local. What's so neat about that is a lot of those things, like what your sister is doing is she's pulling things from something that's already here, so it's not having to be shipped all across the world.
And
so
that's
you think
broken.
about that. Yeah, and it's something that would have already been tossed out.
Never mess with a working watch. But yeah.
I love that. That's amazing. That's so cool. And so I do the same. I try to support local. I love our local farmers market in Fort Worth. Cowtown is amazing for a lot of produce. Actually, in our neighborhood, we have some farmers who are doing Panther City Farmers Farm. They have an inner city farm in Fort Worth. And so
cool.
Yeah,
they're really cool. And they make their own elderberry juice and all sorts of really cool stuff. And they have their own little farmers market Wednesday nights. So we try to do those. You mentioned to you though in the intro that, so I'm a full-time student. So I work at the school for 20 hours a week and also to volunteer with a couple of organizations and all of the things with having a 4-year-old. So sometimes, I'm going to be completely honest, there's not time to go out and do those things and, and shop where I want to. And so what I try to do is the products that I do buy, as I try to get something that is made in the United States, because that means that it's shipped from somewhere closer. Etsy, we talked about Etsy before the show.
Love Etsy.
Yes, Etsy is amazing.
Show them your shirt.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Don't be trashy. Yes.
So cute.
I got that off of Etsy, and I don't know if you know this, but Etsy has a filter where when you search for something, you can select custom where it's coming from, so you can select the area that you're in.
Nice.
I had
Very
no idea.
nice.
Cool.
I will do that next time.
Yeah, me too. Seriously, that's cool. It always takes forever to get here.
Definitely. It'll take quicker supporting someone local. And then too, it's, it's not using as much gas or energy to get to where you're at. So we do the best that we can. It is hard, but we do try to buy things that I think where our mindset has changed in our house is we used to be a lot more about quantity, and now we try to really buy for quality. I will say, I heard you say the glass containers. In full disclosure, for our wedding registry, we got the most beautiful glass containers, and then we had a child. So I think maybe 3 of those are left.
No. I would say I completely understand. Jennifer, who's a friend of yours, like to break the unbreakable pot. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. The Corningware that was not supposed to be breakable.
Right.
Yeah, was.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
That's just a talent.
she's going to be so mad I said that. I love it. Okay. We're going to do something that we do with all of our guests, and it's called the Fast Five. Woo!
Okay.
We ask you 5 questions really fast. You just say whatever's on the top of your head.
Yes.
And I think we are ready to go.
All right. Question number 1. What do you think of garden gnomes?
Ooh, I love garden gnomes. I think they're adorable.
Yeah, we were talking about them before the show.
Were. They kind of scare me.
Kyler doesn't like them. They scare her.
Oh.
But
Just slightly.
we have several.
Yeah.
Okay, if you had a choice between 2 superpowers, being invisible or flying, which would you choose?
Oh, definitely flying, so I could
Same.
get to places faster.
Yes,
Amen.
that's-
all
yeah.
right.
My answer as well. All right. Question number 3. Have you ever had a pet rock?
I don't think I had a pet rock, but I'm a science nerd, so I did have like a collection of rocks when I was a kid.
Nice.
Have you seen the painted rocks?
Yes, I love
Yes.
those. My son keeps finding those at the park.
Oh, I know. It's just really cool. Louisville does that too a lot.
It's such
And
a cool,
you're supposed
cool
to
thing.
post a picture where you found it
Right.
and then drop it off somewhere
Yep.
else.
Yep. Such a cool
That's
little
a neat
thing.
activity.
I love it.
I love it.
Breakfast foods, pancakes or waffles?
Oh, definitely banana pancakes.
Okay.
Ooh, I've never had banana
Okay.
pancakes.
I try to get
Oh,
waffles
you're missing out.
whenever
That
I
sounds
can.
delicious. So good.
And it's a way to save food because you use your bananas that are going out.
Ah, that's right.
You're right. You're right.
That's
You're right.
I don't like squishy bananas, but that's perfect.
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
Okay, if you could hang out with any cartoon character, who would you choose and why?
Ooh, that's a toughie. Okay, so not to be too corny, but I mean, I was a kid of the 90s, so I think part of the reason why I'm here today is because of Captain Planet. So
I love that show.
that was a good one.
Very good answer.
Thank you.
I think I watched it with Jennifer,
Yeah. That's awesome.
who's also a science nerd, so we're going to go there.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
All right. Last question. Where can our listeners connect with you online?
Yeah, absolutely. So the podcast is Life on the Upcycle, and you can find that anywhere on Spotify, Apple, wherever. I'm also on Facebook. So just Life on the Upcycle podcast. And we have a really great community group in a private Facebook group called Love Earth Big, which is kind of the tagline for the podcast. But it's so much fun. And if anybody wants to join us, we'd love to have you. And we just kind of share our eco-friendly journey along with each other and authentically.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us,
Yes.
Ashley.
Absolutely.
I
Thank you all
hope
for having
everybody
me.
has gotten a lot of great information. Don't feel bad if you can't do everything. Just pick
Yeah.
one thing and try that for a while. And before you know it, you'll be doing several.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
thank you again.
That's it.
We really
Thank y'all so
appreciate
much.
it. Bye.
Absolutely.
Well, take care.
Goodbye. Have a great day.